What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to JellyGoonTv. Welcome back to my beautiful viewers and subscribers. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. It's beautiful to see that people, they support of these videos and everything. But today we have a very special video. We have a different video of a different culture that I really do want to understand. But before I get to that, I want to say there's a Discord down in the link down below. Go over and check it out if you want to chat with me, if you want to do some things. You know, I'm always there checking in, everything like that. But today we have a very specific video. So 10 plus surprising facts about Syria. Now, I always wanted to understand Syria, the culture and everything like that, and give them a chance to express themselves towards their culture and what other foreigners they see the cultures at. And as, you know, see them on the pictures, see them on YouTube and everything like that. So I really do want to give it a chance because I think it's a country that is very filled up with problems all the time. And people have a stereotypical view against Syria because it's all about terrorism, war and everything. But I think Syria has a lot more things to contribute with. I think Syria is a beautiful country with a lot of beautiful landscape, a lot of beautiful people who just misunderstood, who people don't give a chance to speak and hear speak because they only hear the left or the right or whatever they hear, controversy, terrorist, whatever they do. But I really do think the Syrian people is a beautiful people. So without further ado, we're going to go into this 10 plus surprising facts about Syria. And it's going to be beautiful, and I hope you're respectful and be respectful in the comments, of course. Take your view on Syria. I really want to know. So we're going to dip into this and see what Syria is all about because I'm really interested. So yeah, without further ado, here is 10 surprising facts about Syria. So let's go. Dedicated to the victims of the Syrian civil war. Oh, wow. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. Wow.
As humanity has advanced through the ages, the vast world as we know has become smaller through the means of us connecting with one another. And within those means, we are able to understand many different people's opinions and thoughts and see the true connection between us all while giving us a great foundation for what it means to truly be human. And today, we are talking about a country that has been a connection and a foundation to the beginning of humanity. Today, we are talking about a country that has a real deep story. And like most stories, the further we dive into them, the more we discover about the true struggle of a person or a people that makes up the whole of a culture. And today on FTD Facts, we are reaching our hand out and talking about the country known as Syria. So hey everybody, what's going on? Dave Walpole here, and welcome to FTD Facts. Now,
go down in the link down below and support this guy,
man. This is hard for us to do here on the channel because, well, this is a country that has a lot of controversy around it, and for me, I had to spend a lot of time really doing a lot of research on the country because this is one that we have to have a great understanding and care for. And it's also because this is a country that most of you wanted us to talk about. People like Haresh Gaming, Islam Ahmed, Psych Ward, Mohammed Tama, and many more of you. So to first start off, let me ask you the question of the video, and that is, what would be the worst thing for somebody to take from you?
Let me pause here. It would be many things. It would be food. It would be my freedom. It would be my freedom to speak, make videos, make all these things, education and everything like that, which I think Syria is kind of, you know, hardish with. So yeah, let's go.
A family member? Would it be, you know, your freedom of speech? What would it be? Let me know down there. Cool? So Syria, this is a country that has an extensive history, a history of progress, warfare, and fights for its people's voice to be heard. And this is because the culture of Syria goes way back to ancient times. For example, the two largest cities in Syria, Aleppo and Damascus, are among the world's longest inhabited cities. Now Damascus, it was inhabited about 9,000 BC. And Aleppo being 2400 BC. But one of the oldest structures in the entire country is the Citadel of Aleppo. Now this large castle dates back to the 3rd millennium BC. And it's considered one of the oldest forts in the world and has a history of being occupied by many different cultures, such as the Greeks, the Byzantines, and the Ayyubids, in which most of the structure is formed from them. Now although the city to date has been damaged because of the Civil War, it was inscribed as a UNESCO location in 1986. But what about Syria's history? I mean, how far does it go back? How did it all begin? The history of Syria dates back to 10,000 BC, as it was an area known as the Neolithic Culture Center. These were the people that used agriculture and cattle breeding first in human history.
What?
And although it is home to one of the oldest human excavations, the ancient city of Hamukar has an interesting story. Scientists date this city's destruction back to 3,500 BC. But what makes it more fascinating is in 2008, the excavation had discovered clay slingshot bullets and slingshots, which suggests that the city was one of, if not the first city, to have urban warfare. But one of the most important and well-documented moments in Syria's history was when it was controlled under the Ottoman Empire. Before 1516, the country was under the control of the Mamluk Empire, but they were eventually defeated by the Turkish Empire, or better known as the Ottoman Empire, at the Battle of Marj Dark near Aleppo. And for over 400 years, the Ottoman Empire ruled all of Syria until its demise in World War I. When World War I broke out on July 28, 1914, the Ottomans and its territories allied with the German conflict. And it marked a major change in human history, a moment where countries banded together in a valiant symbol against evil. And within the darkness of that evil was the Armenian and Assyrian genocide. This was the third genocide of the 20th century and the first one to have a death toll of over 1 million people. A dark time in Syria's history that began on April 24th, 1915. Where anywhere between 800,000 to 1.5 million Armenians and 275,000 to 750 Assyrian people were marched in the desert with no food or water and left to perish in an attempt to wipe out the Christian faith within Syria. But the Arabic people did not stop there. They fought back hard, as freedom fighters of the Sharifian army under the command of Emir Faisal revolted against the Ottoman army, fighting alongside British forces such as Thomas Edward Lawrence, or better known as Lawrence of Arabia. Between T.E. Lawrence and Emir Faisal, the two collaborated on many different occasions, even on the victorious attack on Damascus on October 30th, 1918. Now, shortly after that, the Ottomans and the remaining German forces were defeated by the Allied efforts, bringing the empire and a war to an end. But the thing is, after World War I, the British promised the Arabic people that they would get independence. However, that changed after the war as two diplomats, one English and one French, Francois-Georges Picot and Briton Mark Styles, secretly decided that after the war, Syria would become ruled by the French. But to ensure that this didn't happen, when the war ended, Emir Faisal, he went to the Paris Peace Conference to ensure his sovereignty over Syria. But his hopes went short when the European countries decided to split up the Ottoman territories, with the final conclusion that Syria would be mandated by the French. But shortly after that, Faisal declared himself on March 7th, 1920, the rightful king of the Arab Kingdom of Syria, which ended up leading to the short Franco-Syrian War, in which Faisal was given an ultimatum to surrender his forces or face a severe invasion. And although he complied with it, his defense minister, Yusuf al-Azma, ignored the king's request, and instead he took his own small army to Mycenae, where he faced the French, where he was eventually surrounded and defeated by French forces and tanks. This ended Faisal's kingdom on July 24th, 1920, which after that, the French expelled Emir from the country that he fought so long and hard for. Now, although the French had control and a mandate over Syria, they eventually lost control during World War II. This is because France itself was occupied by the Germans, and after the Second World War in 1958, the country had joined Egypt to become the United Arab Republic, linking the two together as one. However, this deal didn't really work for the Syrian people because they were pretty much ignored by the Egyptians, thought of as second class, and of course, because of that, their economy suffered. And on top of that, even the country was known as the northern region of the UAR. At that point, the country had a coup where soldiers defected, freeing Syria from Egypt on September 1st, 1961. And within the following years came the creation of the Ba'ath government, which also had another coup in 1966.
Let me pause here. There's a lot of story in Syria. Holy fucking shit, man. There's a lot of regime shift. There's a lot of war. There's a lot of massacre. There's a lot of things, man. Like, this is crazy. Genocide shit, man. I hate this goddamn shit. So many innocent people got killed, apparently, for Christianity. That's some crazy stuff, man. But Syria, wow. You've been through a lot. Jesus. Let's go.
But let's step away from the politics and history of Syria to discover what else this country may have that others don't.
There's a lot of beautiful things.
Syria is a country that has over 17 million people, making it rank 54th most populous place in the entire world. Wow. It has a landmass of 85,180 kilometers square, having a density of 118.3 people per square kilometers. Now within that population, 74% of them are followers of Islam, with 10% of them being Christian and 3% worshipping an interesting religion called Druzeism. Now what's fascinating about the people of Druze within Syria is there's only about 450,000 to 600,000 people worshipping the religion. And believe it or not, they make up the largest group in the entire world within a country.
Wow,
you could
crazy.
say that Syria is Druze capital of the world, as the world population of people following Druze is 800,000 to maybe 2 million. For those who don't understand, Druze is a monotheistic Abrahamic religion, but they don't follow the 5 pillars of Islam. But what's crazy about these people is they pretty much live in isolation and they don't even really have conversations with another. They don't even speak.
What?
It's crazy. However, as for the people of Syria, their art movement has contributed to a lot of the Arabic culture, as they are a proud people of oral and written culture and poetry. In the early days of the 19th century, many Syrian writers and philosophers traveled to Egypt and contributed to the Al-Nada, which is well known to be a very cultural and changing renaissance that happened in the 19th century.
Nice.
But you couldn't have history and literature without having education. And in Syria, the education within the country is completely free for students ages 6 to 12. After that, they have a 3-year general or a vocational training school, followed by another 3-year academic or vocational program. And these students are indeed learning, as their literacy comes in at 90.7% for males and 82.2% for females.
What?
Now, speaking of academics, let's talk about their healthcare program. Now, from 1970 to 2009, the country had accomplished quite a lot. For example, the life expectancy of a person in Syria went from 56 to 73. And infant mortality dropped from 132 per 1,000 births to 17.9 live births. And in 2010, a year before the Syrian civil war, the country was spending 3.4% of its GDP on healthcare related issues. And within 1,000 people, there were 14.9 physicians and 18.5 nurses. But nowadays, the healthcare system has unfortunately become very limited and restricted. The latest reports show that almost half of Syria's population has been forcibly relocated, and this is 7.6 million people, with also 4.8 million registered refugees who have relocated. The reason for this is because in 2011, Syria entered a civil war. It all began with peaceful Arab Springs protests where anti-Assad protesters marched in Damascus for democratic reforms and release of protesting prisoners. However, things escalated during those protests and police units fired on the civilians, which moved from peaceful protesting to a civil war when officers and soldiers defected, creating the Free Syrian Army on July 29, 2011. And to this date is one of the darkest moments and most confusing moments in Syrian history, as there are sides in every corner of the...
Let me pause here. I know I don't talk a lot in the video because I don't know a lot about Syria, so I really want to see the video. I hope you don't hate it, the guy who made this video. I am sorry if I don't comment that much, but I'm just really trying to learn the basics of Syria and trying to learn the history of it. So I really can't comment on something I really don't have an idea of, if you know what I mean, right? I did it with Russia and that was a horrible thing, so I'm really trying to learn. I'm really trying to aspect this and build it in and take it in, you know what I mean? So, but he's doing a great job explaining the story of Syria, and I really do appreciate that a lot, man. It means a lot when you have a guy who actually explains the story of Syria, because many people hate Syria for what they did, which they just are a country built up with a lot of politics, a lot of religion, a lot of things that goes wrong because the people trying to speak up, but when they speak up, they get shot and everything. We heard about that in other countries, right? So yeah, it's kind of crazy to see, man, but let's go.
Country, the war has taken over 400,000 lives. But besides the war itself, the country is still home to many historical sites. For example, the country has 6 UNESCO sites. Unfortunately, the city of Aleppo, which was 6th on the list, has areas that are in utter ruins. But the city of Damascus itself is considered an entire UNESCO zone. The reason for this is because the city is filled with many old structures. And the most important one of them all, the Umayyad Mosque, is the oldest building in the city.
Really?
Dating back to 715
That is gorgeous. Look at that. That's beautiful.
Now, this mosque was built in order to commemorate the Arab conquest of Damascus in 1634. It is 77 meters high and is made almost completely out of marble. Wow. And it is one beautiful piece of architecture, I will give it that. As well, it is one of the oldest and largest and most used mosques in the entire world, as some Islamic followers consider it the fourth most holy place on the entire planet. It is also believed that it is the place that Jesus will return to at end of days, and the only pope to have visited this mosque was John Paul II in 2001. So that's it, guys. That's been us talking about Syria. My name is Dave Wobble, and I hope this video brought you guys some insight on Syria instead of just the war in which we're reading about in the media today. That being said, if you guys have any ideas for future FTD Facts videos, let us know down there because we are always listening, or email us at our Gmail at ftdfacts@gmail.com.
Do that if you have any facts about this country.
It has been interesting talking about a country and the people of Syria. It is a region of land that is sacred to our history, with a culture that is still standing proud and hopeful towards a better future. This is the country of Syria, a place where the sun always rises from its Middle East, and its people stand firm and strong against the burning struggles of life.
Yeah. Alright, man, let me pause here. What a beautiful video, I have to say. Syria is a very beautiful video, but built up with a lot of conflicts, a lot of politics, a lot of things that goes on to it, man. It's just crazy to see, but what a beautiful country, what beautiful people, what beautiful culture. It is very gorgeous to see. I really do like it a lot, but I'm sorry I didn't speak too much in the video. I'm really sorry about that. I hope you don't put down my video. I'm sorry about that. I will be better with that, but I really wanted to learn the Syrian culture instead of just pause and talk about something I really don't know. So, big ups to this guy. The link is down below. The channel is Drew something, I think. No, I can't remember. But really go check this guy out. He really does make amazing videos, really beautiful videos, beautiful research and everything. And it takes a long time to do these things. And I'm just honored to be able to react to this video. But Syria is a beautiful country. Never let your hope down. Syria is going to rise again, of course. And it's a beautiful country with a lot of history, a lot of war. But it is what it is. Sometimes a country needs to find its identity, like I said in the Russian-Soviet thing. Like, it needs to find its identity, and Syria hasn't done that yet. So it's underway, and it's in production, of course, and there's a lot of worlds that gives a fuck about Syria, that want to see Syria, freedom and all that. But sometimes politics comes in with the freedom, and politics is messed up and corrupt. So the Syrian people, some of the Syrian people hate America for what they do, because when you go outside, you see tanks, you see destruction. You can't really blame them for that. You can't blame them for hating something that, you know, it's their livelihood, their country, their house, their family are getting killed. It's not you who's sitting in America or you who's sitting in Russia, or Denmark, or Germany, or whatever. It's actually the people in the country. So rest in peace to everybody who died, and I hope that Syria gets to, you know, basically being their own culture, being their own country. But what a beautiful video, I have to say, man. So big ups to Syria. I love you. Shalom Aleichem, whatever you call. I don't know if you're Muslim or whatever. I don't even want to do that. I'm sorry. But I just want to say peace and love, brother and sister. Peace and love, man. So yeah, anyway, if you like this video, please hit the like button down below. Be massively appreciated. And please do check out the Discord. It's very important that you go over there and chat with me. I check in with you guys regularly and try to, because of this bachelor and everything. So yeah, but if you really want to support this channel, we almost have 6,000 subscribers, so it'd be massively appreciated if you would subscribe and hit that notification button so you get updated on newest videos that come to this channel. And of course, you become a member of the JellyGoon Squad. But anyway, guys and girls, I love you so much. Thank you for this beautiful video, and support the guy down below.